What's up, everyone? I know, hour late than the posted time, but hopefully should be able to get through this thing pretty quickly. Starting the show by myself here, so Mark should be on eventually. We'll have to wait and see what time he can get back to his computer and whatnot. But we do have our fantasy kickers and defense special teams rankings. At the end of the show here, we'll also be previewing the two Thursday night games for week one of the preseason. That is the Washington football team at the New England Patriots and the Steelers at the Eagles. So let's get into it here. Starting off on a sad note, legendary college football head coach, Florida State head coach, Bobby Bowden passed away this weekend, yesterday, actually, 91 years old, sending prayers with his family and friends as they deal with the passing of one of the greatest coaches in college football history. The second thing with college football, an interesting development in the name, image, likeness situation. Miami quarterback De'Aaron King signed a nil agreement with the Florida Panthers, the NHL team. Now that's interesting. He is believed to be the first college football athlete to sign an agreement with a professional sports team. So we'll have to see how that works out. I'm not exactly sure what the details of that, how it's going to work. I'm sure he would just rep their merch and whatnot. So into NFL news here. We had the Pro Football Hall of Fame speeches on yesterday was the class of 2021, and the class of 2020 went on Saturday night. Apparently, some of the speeches Saturday night were pretty long. I did not get to watch all of them. I watched a couple of them, but they made a big deal about the time when it came to last night's speeches. So the ones I watched last night, though, Peyton Manning was fantastic. He was funny, witty, entertaining, but also very thoughtful in what he presented and said in his speech all around. Made fun of Tom Brady. The crowd booed Tom Brady. That was funny. And I also thought Charles Woodson's speech was very moving. He was the only one that I really saw tear up. And that was really mostly when he was talking about his mom, who presented him, actually, Georgia Woodson. So that was a good one as well. Tom Flores said he was fragging years old, 90 or 84 years old. He said he needed to go to bed at 9 o'clock, so he had to get his speech in real quick. That got a jolt from the crowd as well. So thought they were mostly good. There were Peyton and Charles Woodson were ones I was really looking forward to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson. I thought those were going to be fantastic as well. So all around a good Hall of Fame weekend. Started off by a Pittsburgh Steeler win in the Hall of Fame game over the Dallas Cowboys. So a couple guys, notable first ballot candidates for the class of 2022. Cowboys and Broncos defensive end DeMarcus Ware. Panthers and Ravens wide receiver Steve Smith Sr. Texans and Colts, I believe he played for. Wide receiver Andre Johnson. Colts defensive lineman or D end Robert Mathis. Cardinals, Niners, Ravens, and Jets, I believe. Wide receiver Anquan Bolden. Bears and a million other teams, wide receiver and kick returner Devin Hester. And then Texans defensive tackle and Patriots defensive tackle Vince Wilfork. I think Anquan has a great shot at it. He had one of the best careers out there. Steve Smith Sr. as well. The only thing is wide receiver is such a massive position. Devin Hester, though, I think has the best shot at that, really. I know they haven't really taken an onus to put special team guys in because that's primarily what he did, but he is probably the best kick returner of all time. So the Cardinals, they announced a partnership with BetMGM to bring a sports book to State Farm Stadium, I believe is the name in Arizona of their stadium. So they were also doing a partnership with retail and merchandise as well. So they will be the first NFL team to have a sports book in their stadium. Interesting note out of this weekend, multiple team executives believe Jags corner CJ Henderson is available via trade. Now, CJ Henderson, the reason it's interesting is because the man was the 9th overall pick last year out of Florida. So it's just crazy that he would be possibly traded after just 1 year. So have to keep an eye on that situation because they do like their other corners there. A couple of guys back at practice or notables. So Niners defensive lineman Nick Bosa, coming off a torn ACL last year, is on track to play week 1. Head coach Kyle Shanahan said Eagles guard Brandon Brooks, who was limited with the hamstring injury he sustained earlier in camp, he was back at practice this week. Also, Ravens left tackle Ronnie Stanley, coming back from a fractured ankle from last year. He began practicing once again. Let's get into some guys activated from the COVID list. So Washington football team, they activated wide receiver Curtis Samuel from the COVID list. He is still on the PUP list, though, physically unable to perform with a groin injury. The Eagles, they activated linebacker Alex Singleton from the COVID list. Key play last year, picking off Nick Mullins against the Niners in a big win for the Birds. The Patriots, they activated tight end Devin Asiasi from the COVID list. The Giants, they activated running back Saquon Barkley and linebacker O'Shane Zimenez off of the PUP list. Saquon making a big deal. The Giants fans making a big deal about Saquon coming back for his first practice this season after the meniscus issue and MCL that he had last year. Falcons, they activated offensive lineman Caleb McGarry off of the PUP list. The Patriots, they placed tight end Dalton Keene on IR. He'll have meniscus surgery and is done for the year. Also with them, linebacker Raekwon McMillan, he was placed on IR. He tore his ACL. He's done for the year. It is his second career ACL injury, but in the opposite knee of his first one. The Jags wide receiver DJ Chark, he underwent surgery for a hairline fracture in his finger. He's still expected to go week 1. The Saints kicker Will Lutz, he could be missing a bunch of time with a potential core muscle surgery that usually puts players out up to 8 weeks or more, considering how vital the torque is of the hips and the groin area for kickers. Could be longer. The Dolphins, they resolved the Xavier Howard situation. They agreed to a restructure with the cornerback. Lots of details here on this one. So this year, he gets $1 million Pro Bowl incentive, $3.5 million in additional incentives. The team also rescinded all of their fines put towards him for minicamp. His 2021 max salary is about $16.29 million. Now in 2022, he gets $500,000 in per game workout bonuses. $100,000 workout bonuses scheduled for 2022 are now moved to his guaranteed base salary, and then his salary for 2022 is $12.975 million. That is injury guaranteed. And then on the first day of the new league year in 2022, it becomes fully guaranteed. Also, $6.775 million of his 2022 salary is fully guaranteed at signing, with assurances that they'll negotiate a new contract in February or March in line with the market value combined with how he performs in 2021. Some signings here. The Falcons, they signed running back Deontay Foreman. We talked about him visiting before, gives them some running back depth there. And the Saints, we already talked about Will Lutz potentially missing a lot of time. Well, they signed their possible replacement kicker, Brett Maher, had been with the Cowboys, most notably with the Cowboys, but also with the Jets. And I believe he had been in LA with the Rams before as well. Could be wrong on the Rams. I know he was with the Jets, though. The Lions, they also signed corner Nickel Roby-Coleman, most recently with the Philadelphia Eagles last season. So let's get into fantasy kickers defenses here. So we'll start off my 15. It is Mason Crosby. He's just so consistent, and the Packers offense, especially with Aaron Rodgers coming back, I think, he's got a good chance at being a solid kicker. Obviously these first 3 guys are outside the top 12, so they're not necessarily starting kickers, but fringe guys that we think could be starters potentially. So yeah, Mason Crosby, perfect on his field goals last year. Didn't get many attempts. The Packers really scored a lot of touchdowns, so a lot of extra points for him last year. That kept his points total down and finished as kicker 19. Scheduled as kicker 25. I mean, that's 22 touchdowns less for the offense, as you can see by the extra points. But it is a lot more field goals, 9 of them exactly attempted. So I don't know. It's weird. ESPN's rankings were really weird, so don't take the rankings too seriously. I think it's more of the points. So increase in points, I think, is fine for Mason Crosby. Now, Chris has the rookie, Evan McPherson, with the Cincinnati Bengals at number 15. I couldn't put a rookie on my list. it wasn't going to happen. So 11 games at Florida last year. Not great. Not a good season for him, actually. He was great his junior year, but last season, or his sophomore year, last season, he was not the greatest. But I projected it as 103 fantasy points. That was counting all the field goals as 3 points. So he might have had a couple more, but the college football reference doesn't show distance. It doesn't break it down by distance. So, but the rook is expected to be kicker 21, 128 fantasy points there for the Bengals in a offense that is expected to score more this season. Now, Chris, this is where he has Rodrigo Blankenship. I will talk more about Rodrigo when I get to him way up my list. So, Robbie Gould, this is my number 14 here. Again, just like Mason Crosby, very consistent last season, not what he wanted, but I still thought it was decent. Kicker 24, projected as kicker 18. That's fine. Like I said, ESPN rankings are weird. Anyways, actually for kickers, I think they were fine. Defense, though, they were mixed and in the wrong order. So, but projected to up his field goal percentage and 50 plus percentage. So I think that's fine. Increase in points is a lot. So that's what you want to see. And I think Robbie Gould and the San Fran offense should be better than last year. I have Tyler Bass at 13, second-year pro here. Was fantastic as a rookie last year for the Bills out of Georgia Southern. Kicker 3 finish. It was just ridiculous. I mean, the Bills offense is really good. I just didn't think Tyler Bass did that well last year. Could prove me wrong again this year. They have him at kicker 10, which is right around where I have him, close enough. So about 80% field goals. That's good. Would probably like to get that up to 85-ish if he could. So 27 or 28 out of 32 instead of 26. The 50%, 50 yards is plus is fine. And obviously extra points are perfect. Now, Chris had Will Lutz at his 13. I'm not sure if he heard the news about Lutz or not. So we'll give him a mulligan. Maybe next time he comes on, we'll give him a chance to defend his decision for Will Lutz being here. So. We both have Ryan Suckup, the Super Bowl champ kicker for the Bucks, at number 12. Now, he finished as kicker 8 last year. ESPN actually has a kicker 17 this year, 10-point drop. I kind of agree. Suckup has been really good for the Bucks. Kind of turned his career around after he was not so good in Tennessee. But I like him as a starting kicker, obviously, number 12 here. So has a chance, is on a high-octane offense. They're going to score a lot. Numbers are very similar, just less extra points. My number 11 is Graham Gano with the New York Giants. Now, this is the first guy really on a bad offense, or a, not as high-flying and high-scoring offense as the other guys that I had so far. But I think the offense will improve. Saquon is back. Daniel Jones is in a make or break. They got upgraded weapons in Kenny Galladay, Kyle Rudolph, and Kadarius Toney. So, if the offense improves, there's going to be more opportunities for the kicker to score points. Graham Gano is a beast from 50 plus, as you can see, 83 last year, 80% projected this year. his field goals were off the charts as well last year. Little dip in that, but I think that's expected really. And the getting the extra points up a ton, like I said, the offense has improved, should lead to more scoring, which means more points for Graham Gano. Chris has Brandon McManus at number 11. Now I have him a little higher, so that's when I will talk about. Chris has Greg Zuerlein at number 10. Just like Brandon McManus, though, I have him higher, so we'll have to wait a little bit for my input on Mr. Zuerlein. I have Younghoe Koo at number 10, the onside kick specialist. 8 of 8 from 50 plus. Just ridiculous amount of production as a kicker 2 last year, projected as kicker 6. Chris has him higher. That's fine. I just liked 9 other guys better on better offenses. Now, that's not to say the Atlanta offense isn't good. It will be. It will be a lot of passing, should have a lot of scoring, but they're going to be in. So they're going to be in high scoring games. Their defense isn't great. So maybe that is a good foundation for Younghoe Koo to get a lot of production, just like he did last year. I think having almost 40 field goal attempts was way too much, and that's going to regress like they have it back to 30, but still hitting 90% of field goals, 60% from 50 plus, around 40 extra points is perfectly good as a starting kicker. My number 9 is Matt Prater. First time away from the Lions after a bunch of seasons in Detroit. After he spent his first couple of years in Denver. Was really a down year for Matt Prater last year. Only 75% field goals. Finished as kicker 22, predicted as kicker 12. I like to see that uptick. Better offense than he had in Detroit. And gets back to doing what he does and making over almost close to 85% field goals, 60% from long range. And the extra points a little bit up. So like that. Chris has Matt Gay at number 9. I have him one spot up, so I will talk about him in 30 seconds. Daniel Carlson is where Chris, number 8 is where he has Daniel Carlson. I did not have Daniel Carlson on my list. He was on my sleeper list, though. I think the Raiders offense could be very sneaky, which could lead to more points for Daniel Carlson. Finished as kicker 4 last year. Ridiculous production in Vegas. The extra points really stand out, as well as the 35 field goal attempts. 4 for 4 from 50 plus. That's 20 points right there. So excellent kicker, young guy, and the offense has been pretty solid for the Raiders as well. Getting into field goal range, getting him a lot of attempts, not necessarily scoring a boatload of touchdowns, compared to the better offenses like the Chiefs, like the Bucks and whatnot. But yeah, the projections are big regression, though, in the field goal percentage. I don't like to see that. So that's why, kicker 13 projected. I understand why Chris has him here based off last year's finish and what the offense brings. I just did not have him on my list. Like I said, I had Matt Gay one spot up from Chris at number 8. This is my belief in the Rams offense, and especially what he did last year with the Rams. He played in the last 7 games of the regular season. Was only missed 2 field goals, 1 of 1 from 50 plus, kicked all 16 extra points through the goalposts. and finished kicker 30 in 7 games. It's not terrible, but projected as kicker 7 this year. That's what I like to see. Over 85% field goal percentage, 60 from long range. I think he's going to score more extra points. I think the Rams offense is very good. I've been saying that all this offseason. So, he's at number 8, but I could see him as a top 5 kicker eventually with what the Rams are putting out on offense with Matthew Stafford. Now, this is where I have Brandon McManus at number 7. Played in 15 games with the Broncos last year. Chris, he had him all the way down at number 11, so 4 spots. Again, not the greatest season last year for Brandon, under 85% field goals, but he tied an NFL record by attempting 15, I believe he broke he broke an NFL record by attempting 15 field goals of 50 plus yards, tied a NFL record with 10 made from 50 plus yards. That is where he scored a lot of his points. I mean, that is 50 points there alone on just his 50-yard field goals. If your league does 5 points for 50 plus. The extra points were not even close to where you want them to be as far as how many there were. The Broncos offense was terrible last year, regardless of who played quarterback. So they're hoping that gets better this year. Got some weapons coming back from injury and in the draft. So it should be improved offense. Still same amount of field goal attempts. A third of his 50 plus attempts, and the extra points up 10. So kicker 4 projected for Brandon McManus. Love it. We'll see if the Denver offense can be better. Chris has Josh Lambo at number 7. This one surprised me. Kicker 36 last year, got injured in week 4. 100% on his field goals, though, through 4 games. 80% on the extra points. Finished as kicker 36. Kicker 11 projected this year. Not sure. 38 extra points. Yeah, I guess the Jags could score that many. We'll have to see, though. He's on a young offense with the rookie quarterback, so maybe he does get a lot of field goals. That could be his calling card this year if he's back fully healthy. So I did not have him on my list, though. Chris has Tyler Bass at number 6, 7 spots ahead of me. Like I said, I understand why you could put him up here. Fantastic rookie season last year. ESPN likes him in the top 10 as well. And he's on a high octane offense. So I have Greg Zuerlein at number 6, a little higher than Chris. He had him at number 10. Now, not the best season from Zuerlein last year. A little bit under 83% field goals. Only 3 of 9 from 50 plus. That stat really hurt. And under 92% on the extra points, missing 3. Still finished as kicker 5, though, because he had 41 field goal attempts, 9 of which for 50 plus. So I do like him. Dak is coming back. They should have a better offensive output. That ups the extra points, lowers the field goals, which is bad for fantasy in terms of kickers, but still scored as kicker 9 in ESPN's projections, and I will take that. I think he could finish right where I have him. Jason Myers is my number 5. Perfect on field goals last year. Finished kicker 10, missed 4 extra points. That's fine. But only attempted 2 from 50 plus. That's what I don't like. I would like to see more. like the projections, at least 5. 32 field goals, massive uptick there, massive downtick though in percent made. So that's not good, but extra points don't go down that much. Increased amount of field goals made plus add 1 field goal made. That gets into kicker 3 as far as ESPN is concerned. So another one on a really good offense. Chris has Younghoe Koo at number 5. I already said my spiel about it. Like I said, I have him at number 10, but I can see how with the Falcons offense that he could be up in this range. Chris has Jason Myers at number 4. Just said my spiel. 1 spot ahead of me. That is fine. Now, this is where I have Rodrigo Blankenship 10 spots ahead of Chris. Now, call me crazy. Rodrigo had a miraculous rookie season, kicker 6 in Indianapolis. The long range field goals need to get better, though. Only 1 of 3, missed 5 field goals, still over 85%, which is the threshold that I like to see. And only 2 extra points missed, which is okay. The projections on ESPN, they do not like it. I mean, I don't know why. 6 missed field goals on the projections, 81% there. 3 of 5 from 50. That's what I like to see. And 3 extra point misses, but down to 41. I don't know. I think he'll have a good season. It's kind of dependent on Carson Wentz coming back, because I think that would kill his chances if, the offense is sputtering with Jacob Eason or whoever it is that gets the reins if Carson can't go. I think they do have enough on offense, though, that they can get into field goal range at the very least, which would be very good for Hot Rod. My number 3 is Jason Sanders. Kicker won last year. I had him in fantasy in my dynasty league, or not my dynasty league, my fraternity league, and he did wonders for me, winning some games possibly for me. I actually don't remember, but the 8 of 9 from 50 plus was ridiculous. Only missed 3 field goals all year. Perfect on extra points. The 50s were really the big ones. I mean, he was bombing it every time. So loved that. 3 of 5 from 50 plus. That's like the standard that ESPN projects for a lot of the kickers. So wouldn't be surprised if he's higher than that. Decrease in field goals is quite a bit. The 85%, that's 7 field goals makes less in 5 less attempts. So I don't like that necessarily. I think he can get to 90% again, possibly. And the 1 extra point miss is fine. Kicker 5 projected. I like him as kicker 3 though. Chris has Justin Tucker. We have Justin Tucker and Jason Sanders flip-flopped. I'll talk about him in 30 seconds. Jason Sanders, like I said, we have him flip-flopped here. Chris, surprised he put a Dolphin at number 2. He'll say, I guess. He'll say because it didn't want to put him at number 1. So, but number 2, I have Justin Tucker. Down year compared to his standards. I mean, those are great numbers for most kickers, but not for Justin Tucker. He does not miss usually, and he did last year. 3 field goals, 2 of them from 50 plus, 1 extra point. I think the projections are fine. Kicker 2, like I have him, he's going to hit 90% field goals. So he's not going to miss 4 after missing 3 in a year. 1 extra point, I think, he'll probably miss maybe 1. But 3 or 5 field goals for 50 plus, that's fine. And the number 1 kicker, we both have Harrison Butker. on the best offense in football. Easy to put him here. 54 extra point attempts last year. Actually finished as kicker 13 because he missed 6 of them. Also missed 2 field goals, but was 4 of 4 from 50 plus, including a bomb of a 59-yarder in week 2 against the Chargers to get that one in overtime. Really elevated their season to start it off after beating the Houston Texans week 1. So projections for this year are kicker 1 keeps the 54 extra points, but makes it up to 53, 5 added points there, 98% extra point make, 5 attempts from 50 plus, only 60% field goals. That's fine, but he ups the field goals by 5 as well. Field goal attempts up the makes by 3, 87.5%. I think he'll make 90. Now, here we go into our defensive fantasy rankings here. So, starting off with Chris has the Minnesota Vikings. I do not have them on my list. I do not have them as a sleeper. I just think they're too young. The secondary specifically scares me. You know, they do have Eric Kendrick still, Anthony Barr, and Danielle Hunter up front, Harrison Smith in the back end, but the corners scare me. The pass rush opposite of Danielle Hunter scares me. And they are projected as defense 15 on ESPN. Like I said, the defensive rankings did not really make sense in terms of what teams were projected to score. So don't really pay attention to that too much. But finished as defense 27 last year. I just don't think they're going to be improved that dramatically. Now, this is a team that I do think will be improved dramatically, though. The LA Chargers. Sacks were terrible last year. Joey Bosa was in and out of the lineup. Melvin Ingram, the same. Melvin Ingram is gone. So they have to replace that production on opposite of Joey Bosa. But they get Derwin James back in the secondary. They got a couple improvements in the secondary around him. The linebackers might be iffy, but they do have Kenneth Murray Jr. in year 2. So that will help. But I just think this team is ready. They have a good offense. They need a solid defense to step up and help them win games. So while ESPN doesn't necessarily like them, I do. And I think they have a chance to be a solid middle of the pack to upper quadrant defense, second tier defense. I have the Chicago Bears at number 14. Now, they finished as defense 19 last year, way down from where they were in 2019. I'm not really sure what happened. I don't feel like they lost too much. They still have a lot of key pieces. Eddie Goldman comes back this year. I think that will help tremendously. Roquan improving year after year. And obviously they still have the game record and Khalil Mack. So 14, I like them. I'm stuck with them in one of my dynasty leagues. So we'll have to see. I'll have to see how it works out for them this year. Chris has the Green Bay Packers at number 14. I did not put them on my list. They were close in my mind. It's just not a sleeper candidate. I do want to say Chris had the Chargers as one of his sleepers there. So, but yeah, I mean, the Packers, very similar stats to last year. They still have the Smith brothers. Their inside linebackers just have not done it for me the last couple of years. Their secondary as well. I just am not a big believer in their secondary. even though they have been pretty decent. So Chris has the Bears here at number 13. I already said my spiel. One spot above me, nothing hurts. I have the Denver Broncos at lucky number 13. Now they finished as defense 22. A lot of injuries. Biggest, obviously, to linebacker Von Miller. He is back this year. That should dramatically improve the defense. They also have Patrick Surtain, who they drafted, which will help the secondary, as well as they signed Justin Simmons, their all-world safety, to a extension off of the franchise tag. So yeah, defense 7, I like it. Number 12 is Cleveland Browns. Now they are much improved from last year. 17th finish there for the Dog Pound. 10th projected this year. Biggest thing, the interceptions and the sacks are up. Points way down. Yards up. But I think that's fine. Yeah. It's really a points game when it comes to fantasy football. Defensive production is hard to come by. I think the Cleveland Browns could be sneaky this year on defense with the additions that they made. Getting Jadeveon Clowney opposite of Myles Garrett. They also brought in a couple of guys in the secondary, and I think their linebackers are pretty solid as well. Chris has the New Orleans Saints at number 12. I have them higher, so I will speak on them then. This is where Chris has the Denver Broncos at number 11, 2 spots higher than me. I can see it. They are the best unit on the team. Now I have the Miami Dolphins at number 11. Chris has them as a sleeper. I like them as a starter. Defense 4 finished last year. ESPN doesn't like them as much this year, though. For some reason, I thought they got better in the offseason. Just figured out Xavier Howard's contract situation. So, that will help them keep their 2 great corners on the outside with him and Byron Jones. They did release Bobby McCain at safety. They wanted some of their younger guys to step in there. Love the linebackers. The defensive front is stout as well. So I have no qualms about number 11. Now I have the Saints at number 10, 2 spots ahead of Chris. New Orleans Saints, just like the Denver Broncos, this is going to be their best unit. They already have issues with Michael Thomas, Deontay Harris, Will Lutz on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is going to have to do it for them. Defense 7 finished last year, 18 interceptions, ridiculous, 45 sacks in the middle there, defensively for sacks, and less than 5,000 yards. That's what you like to see there on defense. Defense 12 projected right now, so right around where I have them, exactly where Chris has them. I think they will be good. I'm just the depth is lacking, so make sure you watch injury news for the Saints. Chris has the New England Patriots at number 10. I have them higher, a little bit higher on my list, so I will speak then. We both have the Indianapolis Colts at number 9. Darius Leonard just got paid. They have DeForest Buckner. They need some outside pass rush. They're looking at young guys to get that done. But Darius Leonard alone is enough to put this defense at number 9. He wrecks games at will. 6 defensive touchdowns last year. Just ridiculous production. I can't recall who they got like 3 against, but Kenny Moore is a really, really good corner. So and yeah, defensive 11, projected defense 3 finish last year. That was really the 6 touchdowns that did that for them. So Washington football team for me at number 8. Now Chris has them a little bit higher. I understand why. Their defensive front 7 is absolutely, it is probably the best front 7 in football. Now, they only finished defense 6 last year on the field a lot. Their offense wasn't that good. Under 5,000 yards allowed, 3 defensive touchdowns, and almost 50 sacks. Very solid numbers. Defense 5 projected this year, way uptick in 50 more points, 1,100 more yards. That's a lot. I don't think that will happen considering who they play in their own division. Sacks go down. I don't think that happens either. I think they stay around the 50 mark, considering all of the pieces that they have on the front 7 as Chase Young goes into year 2. Chris has the Cleveland Browns at number 8. The Buffalo Bills at number 7. I have them 1 spot higher. This is where I have the New England Patriots at number 7. I think it will be a rebound year for the Patriots defense. Stephon Gilmore, Dante Hightower, a lot of young guys returning from COVID opt-outs. So I think that helps them. And they're not going to give up 5,600 yards like they did last year, nor will they give up almost 6,000 yards like it's projected. I think the points are fine. The sacks go way up. 24 to 39 is great. Defense touchdowns go down, but I think that's fine. 2 is good. I think the interceptions stay around 15. I have the Buffalo Bills at number 6, 1 ahead of Chris. Now the Bills defense, while maybe not, shocking on paper, is run by one of the best defensive coaches in football, Sean McDermott. Defensive 8 finished last year, defense 4 projected this year. I love all of the projected stats. Perfect. I think ESPN has gone a little crazy with the yards on all the defenses, so I'm not very sure I like that one, but the defense has stayed intact. They didn't lose much, if anything, and they are my 6. Chris has the LA Rams at number 6. I have them 3 spots higher. San Francisco 49ers at number 5. I have them 1 spot higher. So the Baltimore Ravens are my number 5. Now, this one kind of scares me. Their defense is still solid. 5th finished last year, 3rd projected this year. Under 300 points last year. The sacks stay about the same, which I'm scared about. Now, they did sign Justin Houston just recently, but to see how quickly he gets up to speed. But before that, they really didn't have much on the outside, losing Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon. So we'll have to see what Calais Campbell, CJ Mosley, or not CJ Mosley, Calais Campbell and the like do. Their secondary is still vaunted, which will help their front 7 get to the quarterback. I have the Niners at number 4, 20th finish last year, just not a Niners defense. They were on the field a lot last year. Their offense had injuries. So did they. Richard Sherman gone now. Most of the other pieces back. Nick Bosa returns. That was an issue last year. So if they can stay healthy, I think they can finish right around where the ESPN has them at number 6. I think they'll be up around 47-ish sacks. 13 interceptions is fine. 10 fumble recoveries and 2 touchdowns is perfect. Probably more around 350 points allowed instead of 373. Chris has Washington football team at number 4. I had him at number 8. I understand why he put him here, though. Great front 7. mid-level secondary that can work off of the front seven well. Chris has Baltimore Ravens at 3, 2 spots ahead of me. Again, I understand why. Pass rush still scares me. I have the LA Rams at number 3, the number 1 fantasy defense last year. They scored 4 defensive touchdowns, 53 sacks, almost under 4,500 yards allowed, under 280 points allowed. Just ridiculous production and stopping power for the Rams defense. Now, Brandon Staley leaves, the defensive coordinator from last year, to the crosstown rival in the Chargers. They dropped the number 8 projection this year. I don't think they're going to get that less of sacks. I still think they're going to be close to 50th, maybe 46 there. So that helps. 2 defense touchdowns less, that's fine. But a lot of extra yards, 1,300 added there. So that's what drops them a lot. And also 120 points. We both have the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 2. Now, they were defense 2 last year, defense 2 projected this year. They're not going to get 41 sacks. They're going to be over 50 sacks once again, even without Bud Dupree. Alex Highsmith, even though it was 1 preseason game, he showed that he is ready to step into that role that Bud Dupree previously held. They also signed Melvin Ingram, which will help a lot in the rotation. They did lose Steven Nelson, but Joe Hayden, Cam Sutton, and the young corners are ready to take the reins. They still have Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt. And Devin Bush comes back this year from a torn ACL, which I think will help tremendously. The Pittsburgh Steelers are still a defensive city. And we both have the number 1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Super Bowl champs, coming off a just crazy defensive season and defensive end to the season for the Bucs in the Super Bowl. Now, not the greatest fantasy defensive season last year. Defense 9, projected as defense 1 this year. No doubt. They signed everyone back. Shaq Barrett, JPP, Devin White. They have a young secondary, but it improved tremendously last year and grew up, really. So no qualms about the Bucs going first defense off the board in the drafts. They are well worth it. So before we get into next week, let's talk a little bit about before I do that, my sleepers for kickers. I already said I had Daniel Carlson with Chris, but I also had Joey Sly for the Panthers. Big leg there. I think the improved offense helps him, and he could slide in to possibly a starting role in fantasy. Chris Boswell as well in Pittsburgh. Najee Harris helps the running game, balance the offense out. I think they'll be fine. They might score some more points or get more opportunities at field goals if they can't score touchdowns. Defensive sleepers for me, the Cardinals, Isaiah Simmons. They also just drafted Zaven Collins this year in the first round. They still have some secondary guys, Buda Baker and Chandler Jones. So I think they could potentially be a good fantasy defense this year. The Eagles, always usually up there on the sack in the top 5 in sacks. About to see how their secondary works, if it can get better. The linebackers also are very young, so they have to help out there. Cincinnati Bengals, they made a lot of defensive additions. Trey Hendrickson on the D-line. They got now I'm blanking on all their additions. but yeah, they did spend a lot of money in free agency to shore up that side of the ball. So they could be another one. And the Giants were great down the stretch on defense last year, helped them win a couple games that they might have not early on in the season. Leonard Williams re-signed there. Blake Martinez coming back. So they are another one that are on the fringe. Now, Chris also includes the Jets in Robert Sala's first year, building that defense, and the Carolina Panthers as well. I like that one too, with the young defense: Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Shaq Thompson, as well as Dante Jackson, and first round pick J.C. Horn this year. Now, like I was saying, before we go to next week, just want to preview real quick the Thursday night preseason games we have this week. So, Steelers at Eagles. Eagles favored by 1. Over under is 35. That one is at 7:30. Not on national TV. But guys I'm looking for here. So, Najee Harris, obviously. Second game there. The quarterback situation is another thing you want to watch in game 2. Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins is an intriguing thing there. I want to hopefully see Pat Freiermuth. Not sure if he will play or not. And then the offensive line. Hopefully we get to see the starting offensive line, maybe not. Defense is fine. The backups looked great. And yeah, I want to see more Presley Harvin as well for the Steelers. The Eagles side, I'm interested to see what Jalen Hurts looks like with the first team offense. Hopefully Devontae Smith will play, not sure. But if he doesn't, that'll be a key game for Jalen Reagor to get a lot of reps. And their offensive line as well. We'll have to see if all of those guys play or not. Defensively, we're looking at the linebackers: Eric Wilson, Alex Singleton, Sean Bradley, Davion Taylor, TJ Edwards, Jannard Avery there, how they play against Najee Harris and the Pittsburgh running game. The secondary as well, Anthony Harris added, as well as Steven Nelson. Zech McPherson has been having a great camp as a 4th-round pick out of Texas Tech. Avonte Maddox in the slot as well. And Aaron Sipos, their new punter there in Philadelphia. Now, the other game on Thursday, Washington football team travels to New England to take on the Patriots. Washington favored by 2. Over under also at 35. 7:30 NFL Network. Washington, we'll have to see what Ryan Fitzpatrick looks like if he plays. Curtis Samuel probably not going to play, still on the PUP list there. Adam Humphries, new addition. Rookie De'Ami Brown there. Not much to say about the offense. Rookie Sam Cosmi, the projected starter at right tackle right now. See how he plays. Defensively, not much to say. Jamin Davis steps in there to a starting role in the middle. We'll look for him. And then Kendall Fuller and William Jackson. Look forward to seeing how they play. Patriots, obviously, it's Mac Jones, Cam Newton. How do they play in their first preseason action? Also got the new receivers, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, N'Keal Harry. Will he play? Looking for a trade there. New tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. See if they play. And then a couple of new guys on the line. Justin Herron at left guard. Mike Onwenu at right tackle. Defensively, Lawrence Guy comes back to the Patriots. Devon Gottschall comes over from the Dolphins. Henry Anderson comes in as well. Matt Judon coming in from the Ravens. Dante Hightower coming back from COVID opt-out last year. Kyle Van Noy back from Miami. And then Stephon Gilmore, we'll see if he plays or not. Unhappy with his contract situation. So yeah, those are some guys that I'm looking forward to watching in those two games. Preseason is back next Monday. We will have all the NFL and NCAA news updates, preseason game recaps of this weekend's games, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then also we will preview the preseason Thursday night game between the Patriots and Eagles next Thursday. And also we will be doing our Big 12 and Conference USA conference previews on Monday. Friday, we are doing the ACC and American Athletic Conference previews for college football. That is all the show for today. Y'all, thank you for sticking with it. I know I was an hour late, but I appreciate it. So we will be back on Friday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, FAApodcast.com, to view all of our previous shows, as well as on our YouTube channel here. So thank y'all, and we will see you on Friday.